I'm like, hey man, I don't know how to tell you this. Like, I just got released. He's like, wait, what? Are you serious? I was like, yeah. When she comes home, I'm like, hey baby, and she's like, I know. Like, I already know. And we sat on the couch. It was like a couch like this. Sat on the couch, and me and her had the one-on-one conversation. And you know, I got cut from all these other teams, and I asked her, I said, I looked her right in the eyes, I said, so what do you think we should do now? And she looked at me and she was like, how much do you love this game? That was the first thing she said. I had a conversation, it was like around Thanksgiving time, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to be all pro next year. Like, it just clicked for me. This year was a good one. Yeah. Next year is gonna be an even better one. And so fast forward to, you know, this past Thanksgiving, I was on the game again, and one of my boys was like, hey, Raheem, you probably don't remember this, but you literally predicted that you're gonna have a all-pro year. Growing up, I didn't necessarily have, you know, the silver spoon, as we call it, right? I always had to figure out what I was gonna eat. Always stuck with the same meal, probably like 3 or 4 times, you know, within a week. I felt like it would help build a callus for the things that I didn't want in life, you know, in regards to how I want my family when I have one someday. You know, how I want to treat my wife, how I want to treat my kids.
You got to give me your best Mike McDaniel story. What's up, guys? Welcome into the Next Up podcast. I'm Adam Breneman. We're in Las Vegas right now, overlooking the Vegas Strip. It is Super Bowl week, and we're in my hotel room about to do an interview with Raheem Mostert, NFL leading touchdown rusher. Great season for him and the Miami Dolphins. Raheem's a great dude. He's just started a podcast. He's become a good friend. He's a leader off the field, super well respected in the NFL circles, and has become a household name for football fans. So excited to dive into Raheem's story, the struggles on and off the field, overcoming a ton of adversity, and now becoming one of the best running backs in the NFL. Before we get there, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, listening on audio, subscribe to this podcast, share it with a friend. Follow us on social media at Next Up with Adam, or at my personal at Adam Breneman 81. Leave us a comment below. All your support allows me to travel around the country and have on great guests like Raheem Mostert today. So without further ado, let's go talk to Raheem. Next up. All right, big news. We dropped our merch at Mercury, the college sports company. We have college football tees, college basketball tees, the perfect gift for anyone in your life and perfect for you. I wear them all the time, whether it's on podcasts, whether it's working out. I love the college football tee. So click on the link in the description or go to shop.teammercury.io. That's shop.teammercury.io and use my code AdamB15 for 15% off your purchase. Code AdamB for 15% off your purchase. And guys, you buying our merch supports me, supports our company, and allows me to go around and have the best guests on our podcast. So get some of the best merch you can get in college sports, college football, college basketball. We have tees for our podcast. We have hats. We have sweatshirts, everything you could possibly want. Shop.teammercury.io. Code AdamB for 15% off your purchase. We're rolling. Yeah. Cool. Well, Raheem, man, I'm happy to have you on. Excited to do this, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you finding time during Super Bowl week. I know it's crazy. It's crazy. You just came from an event, right? Sponsored event?
Yeah, Top Golf. It was with Visa, and it was pretty cool. A lot of fans came out, took some pictures. It was like a running back like deal, I guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was me, Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, and David Montgomery. So
sweet.
I had no idea it was a running back deal. It was pretty cool.
What's Super Bowl week look like for an active NFL player? Give us the rundown.
Yeah, you know, I'm signed with Rubicon, right? Yeah. So they handle the logistics in regards to like events and everything like that. But I literally just show up to these events, like I said, the Top Golf Visa one. Yesterday, I had another event where I was hanging out with some kids. And then I was at the NFL house right by the Sphere. So a lot of different things, a lot of different motions, but it's all for benefit, you know. It's all good stuff. So it's
crazy how this week is like everyone's here in football, right? Yeah. Media, TV, players, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. You started a podcast too. Yeah. On the on the Mercury Network. So we're happy to have you as part of it, man. How's that journey been? Have you enjoyed being on the other side of the mic a little bit?
It's crazy because I'm sitting here right now and I'm like, I feel like I'm the one that's supposed to be doing this. You know, I'm asking you the questions and stuff like that. No, but it's honestly it's been a lot of fun, man. It's growing. You know, I think we got like 2,000 subscribers right now, and it's just. People are starting to realize what I'm doing, like yourself. You know, we were chatting about it before. So, it's growing. It's a lot of fun. Getting a lot of good good people to be on the show, and just trying to grow as much as I possibly can, trying to put myself out there.
It's been fun to watch. What's been the thing that you've had to learn the most, or the most challenging part of it? Did it come super natural at first, or was there some challenges?
No, it came super natural for sure. I feel like I'm kind of made for it, just because I get a lot of interviews as it is already, and then I'm trying to take on that broadcasting role, right? I'm trying to figure out everything once I try to make that next level once I'm done playing football. But the biggest thing, I think that was a challenge for me to realize was like the timing of everything, right? Like you got to get guests on, and you gotta, it has to match up. Their schedules have to align appropriately. So that's been the most challenging thing. But all in all, though, it's like if somebody can't go on the show, then I'm still fine with doing what I got to do, right?
Yeah, just do it on your own.
Yeah, do it on your own. So,
man, there's so much I want to dive into with you. Your story is awesome, and I've got to know you a little bit over the last few months, but also heard some of your podcasts, so know some of your story. Yeah. But I want to start with this past season, because you had an amazing year, probably the best year of your career, right?
Yeah.
And you made a bunch of headlines. Your name was everywhere. I feel like your identity almost like took another step this past season as like a household name in the NFL.
Yeah.
Was there a moment this past season where you felt like things kind of started clicking for you, or you were like, man, like this is really a good season right now?
I think the biggest thing that happened to me was when I was close to, at some point I was close to LaDainian Tomlinson's scoring record, right?
Yeah.
He had 31 touchdowns, and I was on pace by like 2 touchdowns at the time, and I'm like, wow, I'm starting to, it's early on in the season. I feel like I'm doing good right now. Yeah. And then, more touchdowns started coming as the season went, and now I'm starting to really realize like I'm having a good season. Yeah. And then I was also, one of my goals was to get 1,000 yards, and I started getting on track with that, and it just seemed like everything was clicking at the right moment for me. Yeah. So I didn't want to take it for granted, of course. You can't take those moments for granted. You got to cherish the moments. And so for me, cherishing those moments is like just being present, right? Yeah. Just being in the now. And so being in the now during the season, it definitely helped me focus more so on my game each and every week and growing as a player. Yeah.
What was the biggest difference, or the thing you did maybe with the offensive system, with the way that just the season played out, the way the running back room was that went into all the success this year?
Yeah, this year I focused more on the detail aspect. I'm a very well detailed guy when it comes to football or pretty much anything else. I try to be as detailed as I possibly can, and so for me this year was that. Last year I had a good year. At the time, it was the most rushing yards I had in the season. I was at like 892 or something like that. So
good year. That's a good year.
Yeah, it was 892. I only had like 5 touchdowns, 4 or 5 touchdowns. So last year was like kind of that moment for me where I was like, okay, I'm gonna grow next year. I remember specifically, I was on my PC playing duty with some of my friends, and I had a conversation. It was like around Thanksgiving time, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to be all pro next year. Like it just clicked for me. Like I was having a good year, and then I'm like telling myself, and they could hear me talking.
That's what,
in the chat, and I'm like, I'm gonna have all pro season. I'm gonna go above and beyond what I did this year. This year was a good one. Next year is gonna be even better one. And so fast forward to this past Thanksgiving, I was on the game again, and one of my boys was like, "Hey, Heem, you probably don't remember this, but you literally predicted that you're gonna have a All-Pro year, at this time." And I was like, "Wait, for real?" And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, you called it out, you called your shot, and then just happened." So last year it was more so trying to figure out the offense, because it was a new style of offense. We still run the Shanahan, offense, but we have more speed on our team, right? We have more guys that are a little bit faster. So, and we're also working with a quarterback that's left-handed, so that's a little bit different. But I wanted to be like, hey, look, I did good last year, This year I want to be more detailed.
Yeah.
So that was the moment for me.
You mentioned the left-handed quarterback. I played with a lefty in college at UMass. Do you feel like having a left-handed quarterback changes things on offense?
It definitely does.
Yeah. They got to flip the whole system.
Yeah, they got to flip because like when you drop back,
Yeah.
the drop back's a little bit different.
Yeah.
The timing aspect's a little bit different. When you're doing play action instead of the play action to the left and then the quarterback can roll right and throw the ball right-handed. Now it's opposite.
to the left, yeah.
We got to roll to the right now, and it's different, man.
Yeah. No, it's funny. The ball also spins the other way, right? When you're catching it.
Last year I felt like I was having like a moment where I was like, hey, Tua, I don't know if you zinging this ball or it's hard for me to catch right now. But yeah, I was like, this thing's different.
Let's go back to when you first entered the NFL. That journey for people is always challenging, and you're learning things, and it's big boy football. Did you have a welcome to the NFL moment where you were like, man,
everybody's asking me that.
Really?
Off the field, I'd say the only moment that I really had was when Kyle Juice, right?
Yeah.
We were in Baltimore. It was my third team at the time, my rookie year. And he made me go I was a rookie, and he made me go get Chipotle for the running backs. Now, I didn't have to do that with any other team that I was on. I was with the Eagles. I had DeMarco Murray, Ryan Matthews, Darren Sproles, and Kenyon Barner. And I didn't do that. Then I go to Miami, and at the time it was Damian Williams, who else? It was Lamar Miller, and I didn't have to do my rookie duties either. And then I get to Baltimore, and it was like, hey, you're a rookie now. You still got to treat you like it. So that was my realization that I'm in the NFL. Like, okay, I had to go out and
get Chipotle.
Get Chipotle. For the plane ride. So
what was the most challenging part about going from college to the league?
Most challenging part was just the speed of the game. I felt like I run fast, right? I'm known to be a speed guy, but at the same time, I felt like just understanding that each week is a different week with a different opponent. Just like in college, but you got linemen that are running, sub 400 or 40s and stuff like that. And these big guys can run, but they're also big, right? And so that took a lot of getting used to, because I got to get away from D linemen. I don't want to get crushed by those boys because I'm a little bit smaller. At the time when I was coming into the league, I was probably like 190, 195.
What are you now?
I'm like 208.
Yeah.
So it was like I gotta run from these guys.
Did you have to change your approach at all with how you were taking care of your body, or kind of like they say, learn how to be a pro?
Yeah.
Did you have to do that at all?
Yeah, I definitely had to. Sleep was very important. Sleep is still important. Even in any profession, you realize that sleep is important in order for you to grow the following day, right? And managing your time. I felt like meeting time, you're in college, meeting time is not that long, right? But in the pros, literally that's all you're doing. It's not like you're going from meetings to classroom and then classrooms to meetings.
Just meetings.
Yeah, it's just meetings. So you had to really adjust that aspect in your game as a pro.
Yeah. No, it's so true. You got to balance everything so well, especially too with all the media stuff you got going on.
And that's another thing.
Marketing deals and stuff.
Yeah, that's another thing is media. You have to be prepared to talk to a lot of people when they come into the locker room. You can't do that in college. Yeah. There's no media availability, slots in college. Yeah. So
in the locker room, they're right in your face after the game.
Right in your face. As soon as the game's
in college,
over.
Your coach protects you too. Your coach protects you the whole time.
Yeah.
And he keeps you from doing that stuff. Was there during your first couple years in the league, was there a time or a moment or something where you started to get real legitimate self-confidence and belief that you were going to make it a long time in the NFL? You guys know I love football. And this football season, I've been trying to find a new way to bet on sports. I'm sick of using casinos, the traditional way to do it. And I found the best way to do it, had to tell you guys about it. It's on Cut. Cut is the game-changing social betting platform. Look no further. This is where you got to be. It's a peer-to-peer betting playground. On Cut, you can bet against your friends, bet against fellow fans on sports, politics, pop culture, and much more. It's much better than just regular sports books. Cut handles payments, so no more more chasing friends for money, no more talking to a bookie, hassle-free betting at its finest. And the best part, no more faceless casinos. It's personal and it's exciting. You can customize odds for what you want to bet on. Tailor your bets with fully customizable odds. It's your game and your rules on Cut. Also, we get lower VIG on Cut. Much lower VIG for a better betting experience for everybody, more winnings and less hassle. One of my favorite parts of Cut is the social features. You can dive into group chats, betting leaderboards, head-to-head history, and user profiles. It's like having a group of friends on a betting platform and betting against them if you want. Your betting experience just got a major upgrade when you use Cut. I didn't even mention yet the rewards that you get on the Cut app. You get cash back every time you bet against your friends. The more you bet, the more you earn. It is a win-win for everyone. Cut is legal in 40 plus states, which I love because I'm traveling so much. It's hard to find sports books that are legal in most states. 40 plus states for Cut, including those without traditional sports books. So put your money where your mouth is. It's time to fire on sports on the best new app I've been looking for a long time, and I found it. It's on Cut. Use my promo code ADAMB and get a 10% deposit match at cut.com. That's cut.com, KUTT.com. Use my code ADAMB for a 10% deposit match when you deposit money. Again, cut.com, KUTT. Get a 10% deposit match when you use my code ADAMB. And guys, supporting our sponsors helps us so much, helps me personally be able to travel around the country and bring on amazing guests. So go support Cut today. Was there a time or a moment or something where, like, you know, you started to get real legitimate self-confidence and belief that you were going to make it a long time in the NFL?
Yeah, you know, when you're going into a profession, right, yeah, like with anything, and you're the new kid on the block, you know, you're a rookie, you still have to have that confidence and belief in yourself, like, hey, no, I'm here for a purpose, right? And that was the case for me when I first got to Philly, you know, as an undrafted running back. I had Chip Kelly, and I felt like my attributes and my skill set could benefit the offense. Because at the time, you know, Chip Kelly's offense has always been fast-paced, right?
Yeah. Spread, no huddle.
Spread, no huddle, get on the ball and go.
Yeah.
And so I felt like coming out of college, that's who I was as a player. So I had confidence that I can come into the offense and really dominate in that aspect. I could really take off and be an elite player. And you have to have that because when you're on that 53-man roster, you know, that means you are one of those guys. Like you're one of those guys that you have to be counted on. Yeah.
What was Chip Kelly like to play for?
Chip Kelly was awesome. Yeah. You know, I truly am thankful that, you know, I crossed paths twice in the NFL with him. Yeah. My rookie year and then in my second year when he was the head coach for the Niners. And that's how I was able to end up, you know, being a part of the Niners for like 6-7 years. Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's sweet. I mean, such a good guy to learn offense from too, right? Yeah, he's an offensive-minded guy. The way he views the game and everything. Yeah, he's a very, very offensive-minded guy. He takes the approach of wanting to be one of the greatest coordinators, you know, in the offensive, you know, playbook ever, in the game ever. Yeah. So.
I wanted to ask about your childhood, your upbringing, and you've talked a little bit about it. I've heard you talk some, but how did that time and the things you went through back then impact and make you who you are today?
Yeah, you know, growing up, I didn't necessarily have, you know, the silver spoon, as we call it, right? I always had to figure out what I was going to eat. Always stuck with the same meal, probably like 3 or 4 times, you know, within a week. And yeah, I felt like it would help build a callus for the things that I didn't want in life, you know, in regards to how I want my family when I have one someday. You know, how I want to treat my wife, how I want to treat my kids. You know, I came from a family that was always abusive. Domestic violence was something that was like, you know, the norm. Alcoholism, you know, I don't necessarily drink all that much in front of my kids. I don't like doing that, and because I see what the effects are, you know, when you're sloppy and everything like that in front of those kids. Like, they look up to you, right? And so for me, that's how I treated it. I felt like once I get to a level of hey, look, I got a foundation, I got a family. I want to treat my family with respect. I want to show my boys what it means to take care of a woman, not to talk back, not to put hands on anybody unless, you know, somebody puts hands on you. Like if a guy puts hands on you, you got to protect yourself, not necessarily go and beat people up. And that was the standard for me, and I learned that at an early age.
Yeah. What do you think was allowed you to get through some of that time to get to who you are right now? Because when you talk to people about you in the NFL, like, people couldn't say better things about you, right? Like the way you are off the field, like the father and husband that you are. Like what motivated you during that time to kind of come out on the other side?
I'd say football definitely was a getaway, because I could take my aggression out on the opponent. That's the easier way to do it, right? You sign up for a sport, whether you play baseball, you want to hit a baseball hard, you got a bat, It's and so you got a basketball, you want to be physical in the paint, you want to post up on somebody or dunk on them. Now I'm 5'11", I can't really. I mean, I can dunk, but I'm not. I could dunk. I can dunk. I can dunk, but I can't dunk on somebody if I was an NBA player, right? But I felt like the biggest motivation for me was just getting away on the beach. That was my sanctuary. I'm all about waves. I feel like the sea was my getaway. The beach was my resort. Just going there and hearing the calm waves break. And knowing that everything will be all right, no matter what I was going through in life. And then I did have some people along the way that did help me. My very first ever football coach, Mike Stokes, we called him Pork Chop. He's a hillbilly dude, a couple of years before he passed the year I played in the Super Bowl with the Niners. But one of the fondest moments that I remember was him having a nice set of teeth, because he was one of those guys, a redneck that had dip in his mouth all the damn time. So it was like cool to see him happy with a nice set of veneers, It was like, that was a moment for me that I was like, okay, this guy, I seen him with messed up teeth, and he actually is proud of his smile, so.
That's awesome.
But it's like those moments I truly cherish, and I feel like as a person, you always want to be around good people, right? That's one thing that I like to do. I like to, like yourself, I like the energy that you provide, right? Your knowledge about the college world and what it takes and everything. I think you do a heck of a job.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And so that's who I try to surround myself with, is people that always on the up and up, who want to grow. I like people that grow around me. I like people that they have hardships at time, and I want to be the person to help them with those hardships. So.
You just mentioned not having the silver spoon in your mouth. What was the feeling when you saw the first NFL paycheck that you got? Because I'm sure you probably never saw money like that before, right? That's a lot of money in one check.
Yeah, it's a lot of money in one check in one sitting. It's like, what do I do? Now, honestly, when I signed with the Eagles as an undrafted, rookie, I had a signing bonus. Now everybody's signing bonus is like out of this world now, but mine at the time was like $5,000. Right? Excuse me, $5,000. And so in Philly, the taxes are a little bit up there, so I had to readjust, my spending, and so after taxes, I think it was about like $2,300. So that was my signing bonus. And what I did with that signing bonus, I helped build the foundation of my financial freedom. And I went and found a financial advisor, and I gave him that $2,300. And my next checks that I was gonna bring in as the years gone by, I was gonna put that in investment, put that in a brokerage account, and learn what it meant to start the financial freedom. Off of literally $2,300. And you could ask my financial advisors to this day. They'll tell you I haven't paid a single thing since, because I trusted them. It was an agreement at that moment. So
So now that you've signed multiple contracts and you got into multiple deals, multiple signing bonuses, what's your investment strategy? Is it you mentioned the brokerage account? Is it investing in stocks in the brokerage account? Do you do other things? I know you got multiple businesses, so you obviously do more than just that.
Yeah, so I try to use my earnings now first and foremost to try to give back to people, especially communities. I started a nonprofit foundation where I I want to be able to provide, opportunities for those who don't have the resources to do it. And so I created Raheem Mostert Waves of Success, where, we help out on many different fronts, right? I want to be able to help out, with families and kids that are going through a certain point in their lives that don't have the necessary means to be successful, right? If you want to be a broadcaster and you need to go to broadcasting school and you don't have the means to do that, well, I want to be able to provide a scholarship for you, and try to do all that stuff. And then also, I like to invest in real estate. I think that's a great game, and I bought my first property last year, and now I'm starting to get into buying different properties. I'm about to soon closing on a deal for a duplex, and so I'm doing the single family. I got three boys, so I want to be able to give them a piece of the pie. I'm gonna get my equity out of them, and then I'm gonna dish those properties onto them and have them take care of them or whatever they want to do. If they want to sell and get the equity out of that. But I got that going, and then I'm about to start a Asahi bowl, Playa Bowls.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so franchise a company and
in Florida.
Yeah, in Florida.
Oh,
so actually in my hometown. So
cool.
I'm trying to just provide opportunities because, like I said, there's not too many opportunities where I came from. Yeah. And so I got my first beach rental in my hometown. Gonna rent that out. And then I'm also going to be buying a franchise and putting that on one of the main streets in my hometown on the beach side.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool.
just trying to get back in that aspect,
And you got a clothing brand too.
Got a clothing brand.
How's that going?
It's going good, man. We actually just dropped the RM 01 collection yesterday.
I got a real bone to pick with you.
What's that?
Bro, you sent Ben a hoodie.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't see one.
Yeah. Oh, I got you. I'll send you one.
Ben hasn't taken that thing off. Ben, for everyone watching, it helps with Raheem's podcast. He wears it every day. So that's sweet. It's great quality.
Yeah, man,
that's a tough hoodie.
That was our first drop. It was a great hoodie with the RM Relentlessly Motivated logo. It's honestly, it's just been taking off, man. I got a lot of fans and the followings has been crazy. Yeah. People have been giving great feedback, which is awesome. And just trying to grow, man.
Where does so your podcast is called Relentlessly Motivated?
Yeah.
Your clothing brand's called Relentlessly Motivated. Where does that term come from? When did that become a tagline for you?
Yeah, going through the NFL and going through all these different challenges, I felt like one of the things that I was able to be comfortable with was being relentless, right? And then I've always stayed motivated. Yeah. I'm not in the aspect of money or fame. It's always been self-improvement, right? Yeah. That's always been my motivation. So being a good human being is a thing that I really, truly cherish. Like, I want to be a good human being. I want people to be like, hey, Raheem is a good guy. Raheem he's a top quality guy. He works his tail off. He gives back. He does all these right things. And that's why I came out with Relentlessly Motivated, because I felt like the saying suited me, but I also felt like there's so many other people out there in the world that could be relentless, that could be motivated in what they're doing. So that's why I came out with Relentlessly Motivated, and then the clothing brand is RM Collective, right? Yeah, it's different collections and pieces that tell my story.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
whether it be being from Daytona, I'm eventually gonna be making a graphic tee where it's gonna be like a race car.
Cool.
And it's gonna be those ties to being from Daytona, and then Shark Bite Capital World. Coming up with these different ideas.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You just mentioned wanting people to say that you're a good guy.
Yeah.
When people talk about you, or when former teammates of yours talk about you, what do you want them to say?
I mean, whatever pops up in their mind first. No, honestly, I don't know. I just feel like that I'll leave that up to them on what they would want to say. But I feel like I don't ever want to leave a bad taste in anyone's mouth. I don't want to be the guy that nobody can count on, especially teammates. Like, I want to be able to be a guy that they can count on when a big play happens, or something happens that they're like, oh yeah, Raheem got it. It's like That's important to me.
Yeah.
That's important. Like, I feel like in order to achieve a certain level of greatness, you have to be counted on.
No doubt.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, and especially in the football world.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a top quality that you have to have.
Yeah. I talk a lot with people on my podcast about adversity, just overcoming stuff. I mean, every athlete, anyone who's reached the level that you have and a high level of success, everyone's gone through some shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone. You just talked about your childhood a little bit, but I want to ask about your NFL career.
Mm-hmm.
What was the moment in your NFL career where you remember facing the biggest amount of adversity, where things just weren't going your way, you couldn't figure it out, and then ultimately, how'd you get through it? Yeah.
So the first part of your question, I remember very, very vivid. A time where I was with the Cleveland Browns. Mm-hmm. At this point, I was probably the Cleveland Browns were my 14. Mm-hmm. My rookie year. They fired Penn.
Got it. Yeah. They've
Mike
been so
Penn.
many coaches, bro.
Yeah.
Not Freddie Kitchens.
Right. So they fired Penn, and Hugh Jackson got hired.
Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson got hired. Whole new roster. Mm-hmm. RG3 was on the roster.
That's right.
They had, Corey Coleman. Mm-hmm. He had just got drafted by Hugh Jackson, first round pick. Isaiah Crowell, Duke Johnson. Mm-hmm. Those were the running backs in the room. So, I was going through, preseason, did all right, got injured, had a grade 1 strain in my hamstring, and so sat out like one of the preseason games, and coming into the final rosters, made the 53-man roster. Mm-hmm. That night I went to go celebrate with my wife, my in-laws. We went to Hyde Park in Crocker, I'll never forget. Had a nice steak. Enjoy, they had this fried lobster, which is unbelievable. You gotta try it. It's really good. So the next day, my wife has a bridal shower. Mm-hmm. I had proposed to her when we were in Baltimore, and so I'm sitting at home. She's at the bridal shower with her parents. Her dad's helping run the whole thing. All the ladies are there, her friends, everybody. Right? It's a great moment. And I'm on the couch, and it's our day off. They just announced a 53-man roster, so the next day you kind of get a day off. Man, I get a phone call, and it's one of the scouts. He's like, "Hey, I need you need to come in with your iPad." And I'm like, "Oh no, man, I done heard this, to previous teams." Mm-hmm. I'm like, "Wait, you serious? I was just on the 53-man roster. Like, you told me I made it." Mm-hmm. And they were like, "Yeah, wait, just come on in." Go in. They gave me this whole spiel how, they needed roster space for, other positions and everything. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I had to go back home. We go back to our apartment that we were staying in. And I had to call my father-in-law up. So I call him up, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, Haim? How you doing?" I'm like, "Hey, man, I don't know how to tell you this. Like, I just got released." He's like, "Wait, what? Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "All right, well, I'm not gonna say anything to the ladies right now. Mm-hmm. Like, it's gonna ruin that moment for them. It's gonna ruin my wife's bridal shower. Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna say anything to them. And then we'll come home and we'll talk about it and see what we're gonna do next." So, my wife comes home. She already got the news because one of her friends, who was also one of my teammates' wives,
she found out.
Texted her in a group message with another girlfriend and was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry about Raheem." And my wife looked at the text and was like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" And she was like, "Yeah, he just got released." And that's how she found out. Yeah. So when she comes home, I'm like, "Hey, baby," and she's like, "I know, I already know." And we sat on the couch. It was like a couch like this. Sat on the couch, and me and her had the one-on-one conversation. And, I got cut from all these other teams. And I asked her, I said, I looked her right in the eyes. I said, "So what do you think we should do now?" And she looked at me and she was like, "How much do you love this game?" That was the first thing she said. It wasn't like, "Well, we could do this, we could do that." She was like, "How much do you love this game?" She was like, "I've been playing this game since I was 7. And I was like, "What do you think?" And she was like, "You got to keep going." And that was like the moment where I was like, okay, if she could, ride and put her dreams aside, and she just got done with her bridal shower, then I should be good. We gonna be all right.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, what came right after that then? was it just a journey of trying to figure it out?
Yeah, no, I got picked up by the Jets. Yeah. I was with them for a week, literally on practice squad.
Yeah.
And then they cut me the next day after the game, and was at home for about a week and a half, and then Chicago called me. I was with Chicago. I was on the roster, off the roster, on practice squad. They released me. Got 2 games in, because like during the NFL, if you get 3 games, that's a credited season.
That matters now.
I was at 2, and so they cut me, and I had broke my pinky on a jugs machine. Yeah, in practice.
Those things are dangerous.
No, they are. Yeah. They are. They cut me, broke my pinky. I got cleared, and then that's when Chip Kelly called me.
Got it.
He was in Orlando. They just got done playing the Dolphins, and they were going back to play Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And so got picked up by them, met them in Orlando, and the rest is history. I was with the Niners for 6 years.
I mean, that whole story and the journey just has to make this past season even that much sweeter, right?
Yeah,
to think back to, I mean, the amount of times you've been cut and the amount of people that have said that said you weren't good enough, or that said you weren't, the excuse of we need roster space, that just means that we don't value you that much, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to make it like, did you ever sit back this past season and be like, damn, like we've been through a lot to get to this point?
Every year I'm like, it just seems like I'm elevating a little bit more and more, right? And so every year I just I catch myself just looking in the mirror and just like being thankful.
Yeah.
And then this past year, me doing what I did, leading the league in touchdowns and breaking franchise record for most touchdowns with the Dolphins, something that hasn't been done in 40 years. I'm like, wow, like I've really had a moment where I was like, wow, I really did it. I'm still trying to, I'm trying to elevate. I'm never satisfied. I'm trying to grow as a player, but I really sat back and I'm like, wow, you came a long way.
Yeah.
So
one of the coolest things this past year for me was seeing and it speaks to like the kind of person you are, because all the people that have met you or worked with you on our team that does your podcast was like seeing how fired up everyone was every single week for you, right? And I would used to see them sit in front of the TV like being the biggest Raheem fans now, just because they met you, right? And it was that was cool to see. And then it makes you have an impact on a lot of people, right? A lot of people are fans, and you make when you have touchdowns, a lot of people get super happy.
Yeah.
Like, you ever feel that during the weeks?
Yeah, I do. Especially when like I'm going to a grocery store and they're like when we played Denver, right? And we put up like 70 on them, and I had 4 touchdowns. Like,
fantasy owners are happy, right?
Fantasy owners are happy. A lot of people coming up to me and they're like, "Oh man, you killed it this week, bro. I appreciate like the 60 points." I'm like, "God, I had 60 points for you?" Like,
That's awesome.
But nah, it's all love, man. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely an experience that I'm truly gonna cherish, just because like it makes fans happy. I'm all about the fans being happy and being here at the Super Bowl. I mean, I know both teams, both fan bases are crazy, right? Yeah. They're good fan bases, they're loyal fan bases, but one fan base that I truly, am thankful for. And I was just telling one of the fans at the Topgolf event I was at, they're huge Niner fans, and they were like, "Man, we miss you, being a Niner. We wish you were in this game," and it like brings me back to like really appreciate the fans, and especially the Niner fans. It was obviously it's business, right? Yeah. Business first, and you have to have that mindset. You have to be able to do things that are going to benefit you and your family, right? Yeah. And so leaving the organization was tough, because I was there for 6 odd years, right? Yeah. And so being here in the Super Bowl and the fan bases and the Niners being there, man. I got so many fans coming up to me, thanking me, just saying how much they really appreciated my time. And that gives me that feeling of joy, right? Because it's like, wow, you really took the time to get to know me as a player, as a person, off the field, right? Yeah. So it's a good moment. It's a humbling experience, and I know that, the fans are really appreciative, more so. There's also the other side.
No doubt. I was just going to ask about that. Have you experienced much of the negativity from fans?
Yeah, you do. You
social media?
Do. Social media, sometimes people, they're always bringing up my age of oh, he's 31. He ain't got much left in the tank. Yeah, he's old head. He ain't got much left in the tank. And I'm like, did you just see what I did? Like, I got plenty of left. Yeah. So there's always going to be people that are doubting you. There's always people that's going to be naysayers. It is what it is.
How many years do you think you got left?
Man, I got
10?
However many these legs allow me to run,
Yeah.
So, I probably got like 5.
How many surgeries you been through in the NFL now?
Man, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Four surgeries, AC or partial tearing my cartilage. Got that done. My thumb broke that last year. And then two forearm surgeries. 2? Yeah. So they had surgery. So I broke my ulna and radius.
Got it.
Snapped both bones in half. That was a crazy game. Broke both of them, and then throughout the healing process, one of my bones wasn't healing right, so they had to put a screw the opposite way. Oh, damn. So I had to get another surgery for that.
Brutal.
Yeah, brutal. It was brutal, but...
You just talked about the journey of the NFL and like getting cut a bunch of times. Take the fans inside, people watching inside, what that process is like. I mean, you got your wife, you get cut, and then you get signed, and you get cut. Like, are you moving the family around during that time, or you haven't talked to the wife and be like, what do you want to do here? You want to come with me? You want me to go? Like,
at the time, I thankfully I didn't have kids.
Kids, right? Kids complicate the whole thing.
Kids complicate the whole thing. Not just because it's like a lot of moving parts, right? It's like
schools.
They get acquainted with schooling. And, they got daycares they go to. They got if you put your kids in activities, right? That all has to take into account. Yeah. And so thankfully I didn't have to go through that early on because I didn't have kids until I was like 27. Yeah. Yeah, that's when I had my first son. Got it. And so moving, getting cut and stuff like that, I get a phone call and I have to be on a flight, within 2 hours. So
crazy. Same day they're moving you out.
Same day. Yeah. It's like, and so my wife, thankfully, she's the GOAT, man. She held it down, through all the bad times. She was the one that had to get the suitcase, get packed. I literally have 30 minutes to get everything that I possibly can in order to catch a flight. Yeah. So she helped me out along the way. She had to go. I remember specifically, I got picked up from the Dolphins when I was with Philly. I was on their practice squad. It was a Monday night game against Atlanta, so I traveled with the team to Atlanta. Yeah. She stayed back. She was going to sign our lease to our new apartment, our townhome. And I got that call, and I had to be on a flight to Miami, and I had all Eagles gear on. Like, I literally had.
She signing the lease while you're.
She was about to sign the lease, and then I had to call her like, "Hey, don't sign that lease." And so she had to go into my locker, the Eagles facility. She didn't even get access. Like, she had to get access through the team security and go in and go to my locker and get my stuff out.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so she had to pack a suitcase up because we were in a hotel at the time. Yeah. So she got the suitcase, sent all my clothes in the suitcase to Miami. Yeah, so that was a moment. It was like, yeah, she's a rider.
When you, I've obviously never gotten cut from the NFL, never had been in those meetings. When you're in those meetings with the coaches or GMs and they're bringing you in, they're like, hey, we're gonna move on. Yeah. Did you ever like try to make a case for yourself, or you just know it's over with?
It's like, you just hear what they say, and then it's like for me, I'm like, all right, well, you can't, at that moment, it's like they already made the decision. So like you can't please keep me, there's no time
for
that.
I'd be fighting with them.
As bad as you want to, right? No, but honestly, it's like it's for me, I've always felt like, hey, look, no, it wasn't meant to be.
It's a plan, right?
Yeah, this is the part of the plan. This is what the man upstairs has me going through. And I gotta figure out my next approach. Yeah. I've always been a guy where I want to take 2 steps forward. Like if something's planned, Like I feel like I got to take 2 steps in advance.
Yeah.
So that way I got my feet under me, right? That's just how I've always been.
Were there any meetings with coaches, whether it be like pre-draft process, whether it be as you're going through free agency and getting signed or traded, that you just got like absolutely grilled by a GM or a coach? Do they ever ask you some super tough questions, or is it super easy usually?
Nah, it was super easy. You know, like when I first got on the team, they'll be like, "Hey man, we're so excited to have you. You know, hopefully you make the most out of your opportunities, blah, blah, blah." And you're like, "Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for having me." Yeah. And then on the flip side, when it's like, "Oh, well, you know what, I hate doing this. Like, we're going to have to release you." You know, it's something that is more beneficial for the team right now. Hopefully you don't clear waivers so that way we can sign you back to practice squad and keep you. Yeah. But you know, when those words are being said, it's like, for me, I heard them so many times, right? That I built a callus. Like I built a hard shell where it's like, nope, I hear you. I appreciate you. Thank you for your time, but I still got work to do. Like I got to figure out the next plan. Yeah.
Let's talk about Miami a little bit. What's it been like playing with Tua? How's he as a leader?
Man, he's awesome. Yeah, he's a guy that when he walks into a room, you know that he means business and he's ready to go. Yeah, he takes command of the huddle. He's a guy that really wants to grow as a player. You know, whether it be on the field or off the field. He's really trying to hit his mark and he's trying to be one of the best. You know, there's a standard in that quarterback room, right? And it also helps when you have Dan Marino, you know, in there helping him. Dan is awesome. Dan, he's in those meetings. He's always in he's around a lot. So that definitely helps because Dan is the standard. You know, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a guy that, you know, if he were to play today, and the arm and the accuracy that he has,
he'd be special.
He'd be throwing for 6,000, you know, 7,000 yards this season.
Yeah, offense was different back then.
Offense was different back then, for sure. So,
have you seen Tua's confidence grow as he's gone on now?
Yeah. He's it's nice because like early on in his career, he was dealing with, you know, head coaching changes, offensive coordinators being changed every year. Yeah. And so for these past 2 years, you just see the level of growth that he's experienced simply because of the one, there's not changes going on, right? You know, we got Coach McDaniel, that's an unbelievable coach, and he's helping Tua grow. But also he's getting comfortable. He's getting comfortable with the playbook. He doesn't have to worry about, you know, next year's gonna be a new playbook. He knows what's at stake. He knows the playbook that he has now. So.
You got to give me your best Mike McDaniel story.
Everybody
that guy's funny to watch.
The only thing is like we joke with Mike. Because you know he's very small in stature, right? He's not that big of a guy, but dude wears like a size 13 shoe. Really? So it's like he has clown feet, right? But like we talk about him and we talk about his shoe game is immaculate though.
Really?
Yeah,
he's got some swag.
He got some swag. His shoe game is crazy. I will say that. But it's just funny because we're like, dude, you gotta wear the right shoes because you're you know 5'6" like, with a size 13, but it just doesn't match and you're super skinny.
What was the first team meeting like when he walked in there?
He opened up. Yeah, he opened up. He let everybody know that, you know, this is who he is and you know, he's not changing and he's gonna be one of the greatest coaches. That's his mindset.
Yeah, he's got confidence, man. That's cool to see.
Yeah, he does.
It's cool to see. What was it like being teammates with my guy Mike Gesicki, one of my best friends?
Bro, Mike is awesome. Yeah. Mike is
such a good dude.
He is. I hated the fact that, you know, he wasn't getting the targets he deserved, right? Yeah. But that's because you got, you know, Tyreek, you got Jalen Waddle, you know, you got all these guys that got to get the ball out. So it's like it sucks.
Only one ball, right?
There's only one ball for like 10 guys.
Mike's a freak, bro.
Yeah, he is.
Not many guys that big can do things.
The only thing that was his downfall was the blocking aspect.
Oh, softish.
Yeah.
He don't block anybody.
Yeah, he ain't gonna block anybody. But you know, I think that was one of his biggest downfalls because our offense is, you know, you have to block. Yeah. You have to, as a tight end, you definitely. I mean, you see what George is doing, right? You see.
That's exactly
So
Mike and I would talk. It's like they want me to be George Kittle, but I'm not George Kittle.
He's not. But that's okay though,
Yeah.
right? He's Mike Gesicki. He makes those plays. I mean, I never forget when he made that catch against Baltimore in the back end zone, bro. Like he was
Freak.
He skyrocketed and got that ball and snagged it and put 2 feet in the end zone, right in the back of the end zone. I was like, this
Crazy.
guy got it,
Let me ask you this. What's the best advice you've ever received during your career?
The best advice that I received during my career, man, that's a good question. I'd say there's so many.
This question always stumps people.
It does, because
but it gets you thinking a little bit. You got to give me something good here.
Okay. Never make the same mistake twice.
I like that.
Yeah, never make the same mistake twice. Being in the league, if you make the same mistake twice, it's going to hurt you. Yeah. It's going to hurt you. So, like, if you mess up on a play and you mess up on that same play later on, it's going to cost you. Yeah. So I feel like, and that goes with anything in life.
I was going to say, it's true in life too, right?
Never make the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the biggest quotes that I feel like it has made an impact on me.
It ties in with people too, right?
Yeah.
When people show you who they are, believe them, right?
Yeah,
the first time.
Believe them. Yeah, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. No, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Yeah.
What about the worst advice you've been told?
The worst advice? Nah, that's a good one. I don't know. I feel like all advice is good advice when you apply it.
Yeah.
Right.
Depends on how you apply it.
How you apply it.
Yeah.
But I would say, I can't really think of one.
Yeah.
I can't think of one. That's a good question. I can get back to you on that one. Yeah. Maybe I'll text you or call you.
I'm gonna hit you up and ask you to think about that one.
Yeah, I got to sit down and think about the worst advice.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just feel like so many people. I always say this about advice. Don't take advice from people that you wouldn't trade places with. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like people all the time go to advice from people that you actually don't respect. You know, why are you asking them for advice?
I will say that. Don't go to, if you don't respect that person, don't get advice from them. If you don't respect them. But then there's also that saying where, like, respect. Everyone.
Respect everyone.
It's like you do have to respect everyone and their knowledge behind it. Because even if I don't like somebody, now that's one thing I will say. You don't burn bridges. Yeah, that's one of the biggest advices that I really took in consideration, because if I were to cut Chip Kelly out when I was with the Eagles, because I was like the last cut that night, when he had to make that, because he was the GM and the head coach.
Yeah, he made every decision.
Yeah, so he made every decision. Everything had to run by him. So I could have MF'd him that night. I could have been like, bro, you were making the worst mistake in your life, like letting me go. Like I could have burned that bridge. Yeah. But then if I would have burned that bridge, he probably wouldn't be calling me, the following year when he was with the Niners. So that's one advice I would say is don't burn that bridge.
That's a great point. What's your favorite city you lived in during your career so far?
Favorite city?
Been a lot of places, man.
Yeah, I've been a lot of places. Honestly, I'd say Miami. I'm Florida. I'm a Florida boy.
I knew you were gonna say that. I almost took Miami out. I would say other than Miami.
Other than Miami, it'd be California. Yeah, because I like the
Philly,
weather.
man. Come on.
Philly. Now I will say I did have some great time in Philly. Yeah. Food is amazing. I go.
Not the best city in the world.
Nah, not the best city in the world. But in regards to food, I mean, we go down to, whenever I get a chance to go to Philly, if we're playing in Philly, I go to my spots, man. I got Petro's, that's on Walnut Street.
Okay, I gotta try that out.
Yeah, you got, man, they make the best pizza.
Okay.
Yeah.
Petro's?
By far the best pizza.
All right.
And then Elvez, I don't know if you heard of Elvez.
I've heard,
Elvez, got some good.
In Fishtown?
Yeah. Good blood orange margaritas.
Okay.
Yeah, check that out. I promise you. And then you got Benjamin's ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good too.
Man, you're an ice cream guy?
Yeah, Benjamin Franklin's ice cream. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you was, as your career has gotten more successful in the NFL, how have you balanced having to, keep your circle small, or maybe you don't keep it small? Like, how do you balance who you trust, who you don't trust? You just said respect everybody, but how do you make sure that you're not? I'm sure a lot of people want things from you. A lot of people want to be your friend, especially with the season you had last year. How do you approach that?
Yeah, I would say. I do keep my circle small.
Yeah.
I do. If you if you're in my circle, that means you really tied in with me. And so, you know, I'm always that guy that gives people a benefit of the doubt. I do. That could be a strength, and that could also be a weakness. And so, I've been able to, you know, just tell people how it is. This is who I am. This is, you know, this is what I'm about. If you're not about that, then you can't be in my circle. You know, you can't be around me. But like I said, I'm always the guy that gives people the benefit of the doubt too.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Yeah,
that's good advice. Last thing I got for you, bro.
Yeah.
What's your why? What's the reason you do what you do every day?
My kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife and kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I see, you know, I see what I'm doing right now is setting the foundation for them. Yeah. Yeah. So my why is my family. Yeah. My why is the reason why I'm able to wake up in the morning, and sometimes 4:30, 5:30, 6:30 in the morning. You
don't want to.
I don't want to, but I got to in order to, you know, help, you know, provide for them. Yeah. And honestly, my wife, I think she's the biggest reason why.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
She's cool.
She held it down. She gave up her dreams and aspirations to, you know, help me pursue mine. And so, I can't thank her enough. That's why I gotta, whatever she wants, whatever she, you know, if she's the one that is making all the moves with the clothing brand. She's the one that, you know, she's my CEO. Yeah. And she's CEO founder. I gave her that title. Yeah. And yeah, she has fun with it. She everything that we do, she has a footprint in it. So.
No, you can tell how smart she is from even the stuff she sees on the podcast front too. Yeah. Again, I don't see a lot of it, but I hear from some of the team at Mercury, like the things she's saying to change, and I'm like, man, she sees it. Like she's on top of it, and like I'm like, she like, I listen to everything she says. She's paying attention.
I would say this honestly.
She's smart.
She is. She's super smart. I mean, we met at Purdue. She played soccer. She's an athlete, so she gets it. Yeah. She understands the what it takes to be, you know, an athlete and time management and everything like that. Yeah. And so, she helps me with that. Yeah. But I would say this: it's also nice when you have somebody like her that went through, you know, all the BS I went through, all the cuts. Yeah. Even in college, I didn't have the best experience football-wise. Like being at Purdue, like we're not known as football. We're more so known as basketball, right? It's basketball territory. Like that's what we breed over there. Yeah. And so having that experience of getting a coaching change my sophomore year. Yeah. The coach didn't believe in me. Forced me to play a different position. Her seeing everything happen, you know, going from basically being, you know, a guy that's sprinkled in on the offense and making a couple plays to, oh, he's a starter, now he's getting benched because of that, you know, the favoritism and everything. It just helped our relationship grow even more. So, awesome. she's been lights out.
Yeah, that's cool. I meant to ask you, what's Purdue got to do to get the football program back, man? They won some recently though, a few years ago, but
it's not
enough.
It's not thrilling. Like I'm not waking up being like, oh, Purdue ball.
Purdue playing today.
Yeah. Now basketball, they're
different in basketball.
Yeah, they're different. I think they're ranked number 2 right now. Yeah. So they I don't know. I guess you gotta have more energy. You know, people gotta believe. Coaches gotta believe a little bit more. Yeah. I know the head coach. You know, I've talked to him a few times, but I don't know.
You gotta go back and build like the Raheem Mostert weight room at Purdue.
Yeah, you're right. I gotta
Raheem Mostert NIL fund, dude.
Look, Drew Brees goes back. Yeah. You know, he's putting his footprint in. So no, I guess I got to too. Yeah.
But man, I appreciate your time. It's been fun getting to know you and following your career, and it was cool to see you ball out this season, man. Yeah. All this shit you've been through, and to make that happen, it was cool. And I appreciate you making time during Vegas.
Yeah,
Vegas trip.
Man, I appreciate you having me, bro. Thanks, we always chatted. We were like, bro, I gotta get you on the podcast. I'm like, look, we gotta find this time.
No, I know. That's the hard part, right?
But
everyone wants to come on, but
everybody wants to come on, but that's the biggest thing is the time, right? But this is awesome, bro. I'm happy for you. This is awesome.
Appreciate it, bro.
Heck yeah, man.
Good stuff, bro.
That was easy,
right?
Yeah, man. Good.